Hey fam, I'm Holly. Welcome back to my channel, Lipedema. So if you've been watching, you know that my surgery is scheduled for the end of this month, which TikTok is almost here. So I'm about 2 days out right now, and it's definitely crunch time in my mind. I've been kind of trying to manage my anxiety over about three things lately, and I wanted to just take a moment to kind of share that with you, but also to let you know I've done all of my before photos. So a I have a shocking number of pictures of my legs from all angles, my arms, all the bits and pieces that will be helpful in kind of looking at what the outcomes of this surgery are, engaging the success of it afterward. But also just because I kind of want to memorialize, right? Like these legs have gotten me through 52 years, and I appreciate them, even if they have not always been what I wanted them to be aesthetically or from a pain perspective. They have gotten me through a lot of things, and so I will memorialize them, and then I'll also have something in my mind that I can compare them to. Because the one thing that I've seen whenever you have surgery is take pictures all the time, every day, even if you think there's been no change whatsoever, because you can really start to see things that you don't necessarily feel when you start looking at those photos. So I'll be sure to be diligent about that moving forward as well. And when I do my first post-op video, I'll show you the kind of before and now, because I suspect it's going to be quite a long journey. 6 to 8 weeks is the recovery time for this, and she's going to be doing a lot of work in just one surgery. So fingers crossed that it's not going to be the swell hell that I've heard so many people go through, but I'm ready for anything at this point. I've got all the compression, I've got all of the like arnica gel, I've got all of the pineapple tea and arnica tea. I've got my manual lymphatic drainage massage scheduled, which I found a really good therapist. I'm super excited. I'll let you know if it turns out to be as good as the conversation I had with her was, but I feel very confident in her capabilities. And she knows my doctor, which is always good. So she spoke highly of her. Okay, so three things I wanted to share in this video. The first thing is what it's like to go for more than a week without my Wegovy. So I am now on day, let me see, 12 since the last time that I took a Wegovy shot. And if you've been following my story, you'll know that I've been on Wegovy for about a year and a half, like a year and 8 months total on the GLP-1 journey, but specifically on Wegovy for about a year and a half. And for that entire time, I have taken one shot every week, regardless, usually on Sunday. And I was told at my pre-op appointment that I have to stop it 2 weeks before surgery. So that's been kind of like weighing on my mind. Part of me thought I was going to just like tear through everything in my fridge, but it's actually been really not what I expected it was going to be. So I know there's some people who only do their shots like once every 10 days or so because they're trying to either stretch out the medication because it's very expensive and they're paying for it out of pocket, or they're trying to limit how much, because the medication is so effective, they're trying to limit how much they take so that they can actually get in more calories, right? Totally great. Understand why people would do that. It's definitely been super effective for me, and it's something that I've thought about. It's one of the options versus going backwards to a lower dose, where I don't feel like I had the same kind of like suppressant for my appetite. So one of the things that people have said is that if you kind of go past this sort of like 10-day period, you have a lot more of the breakthrough nausea when you try to resume. So some people have said like 2 weeks is the longest they'll go. I spoke with my bariatric medicine doctor right before this, and he seemed to think that going 2 weeks per my surgeon's orders wouldn't be problematic. The good news is that I'll probably be on some kind of anti-nausea medication after I come out of the surgery anyway. So I'm kind of hoping it's like out of surgery at 5 p.m. and at 5:05 I'm sticking my Wegovy in and then getting back on the appetite suppressant GLP-1 journey again. What I would say is that the the impact of not having Wegovy at the same levels in my system has been very different from what I thought. I haven't had more appetite, I wouldn't say. Like I haven't had this desire to like eat more, but I will say I'm able to eat more at each seating. Like whenever I sit down to eat, I'm able to take in more. And I would say that I'm able to eat again sooner. So before, if I had lunch, it would kind of be ruining dinner. Like I'd have to be really mindful about how much time I left between those things. And some of it's due to my Invisalign. I just tend to not eat very much during the part of the day where I'm like actively at work. But then once I get home, after when I sit down for dinner, that's when the Invisalign come off, and they stay off pretty much until I go to bed. That is not the best way to do it, by the way. Like, it is 100% not a good way unless you want to be in your Invisalign forever, like I'm going to be, clearly. But I will say I'm able to eat more than one meal a day now. And I definitely don't feel the same sort of like cutoff valve that I felt when I was taking the Wegovy weekly. So that's been interesting. The second thing that was really interesting is that I noticed that I'm in more pain. So when I was talking with my surgeon, she mentioned that someone else in her family is also on Wegovy and that they've seen some real anti-inflammatory properties related to the medication. And I had to stop and think about it. I was like, yeah, you're right. I definitely have seen a reduction in the symptoms, in my lipedema symptoms in my legs, and even in my back too. Like some of the things that I think of as like psoriatic arthritis, like I've seen a reduction in those symptoms as well. So I guess it makes sense that I'm sort of in more pain now, but that definitely wasn't something that I was thinking about. So it's really interesting to see all of the different ways that the Wegovy does impact you. And I'll be glad to go back on it as soon as I possibly can. The second thing is that you can't take an oral or topical estrogen, so not a topical cream or the oral estrogen pills, like for HRT, hormone replacement therapy, when you're going into surgery. Apparently, it increases the chance of getting blood clots, right? So I was told at my pre-op appointment that I would need to discontinue the estrace that I'm on now. Fortunately, I had some old patches that I never actually used. They were prescribed for me, but I kind of thought, I use too much lotion. They're going to just like slide right off, or they're not going to make it through the pool. They're not going to make it through the hot tub. So to me, it just seemed like you had to be a little bit too interactive with them. Plus, you had to switch them out like twice a week. So I just prefer the pill. But I was super happy to remember that I still had one box of those left. And I will say it has been not bad. They've stayed on pretty well, even though I have sometimes forgotten when I was in the shower and like actually lathered up that area on my lower back, probably more than I should have, more than I was, more than the patches intended to injure. But I also went to the hot tub yesterday and got into the pool, and that thing stayed on. So, seal of approval. I'll give it the old tick of approval, that it worked. I will say it's a lower, like the amount of estrogen that's in there, I think is lower than the tablet that I was taking. So I did see some breakthrough, like maybe brain fog, and I would say I didn't sleep quite as deeply, and I definitely had more night sweats. So just like being able to regulate my own temperature, I noticed that since I've been on the patch, that's been problematic, and it really wasn't before. So I don't know. It's a reaffirmation that I'm on the right medication when I'm taking my oral estrogen. But it's also really nice to know that if you're on HRT, if you're taking an oral HRT, my recommendation to you, talk with your doctor about getting a backup patch so that you can do that before surgery. And it's really a pretty good stand-in. So just something in case it might be helpful, because giving up my HRT, that would have been like adding insult to injury and making a recovery that's going to be bad even worse, right? The other thing I would say is this feeling of, like the third thing I wanted to share is this feeling of it's crunch time, it's go time. There's so many things. I've been given lists of things to do by my doctor. I've got lists of things that I want to get done in my personal life. And then I've got lists of things that I want to get done for work. And all of that has been a lot. So I just want to say for everyone out there, like, give yourself some room to feel like it's a lot. Other people might not understand because they don't know all of the things that you're thinking about, because it's not just the surgery. The surgery will happen, but right after the surgery too, like, I'm just not going to be the same version of myself that I am right now. I'm going to be in pain. I'm going to be in compression for about 6 to 8 weeks. I'm going to have some restrictions on some of the activity. I might be a little depressed. That frequently happens for folks after they go through surgery. I think it's generally related to the anesthesia is what I've heard, and that's what I will be going under, general anesthesia, for this procedure. So I wanted to spend some time before going in connecting with folks. I told my boyfriend I wanted to make sure that we got some good time in the hot tub and in the pool, because I know I'm not going to be able to do that for a minute. And I always have FOMO, afterward, even though I don't really go in there that often anyway. And we have a pool like in my apartment. It's an indoor one. So we literally could go every day, and I almost never do. But as soon as I have something where I can't go, I feel like I just want to go. So I've been trying to be really purposeful and mindful about that. I've been showed good intention with my son. Like, let's go out, let's go do things, let's go get Calbee for dinner, let's hang out and get our nails done, do my hair, because guess what? Afterward, I want these nails to be super short. It's going to be a minute before I can have someone do them or before I'm bending over to do anything. And I don't think I'm going to be able to use my hands nearly as much because my arms are going to be not bending quite as much as I'd like to, or I'd like them to immediately after the surgery. So there's just been a lot of things that I've been kind of spending this time pre-op thinking about, but also being intentional about putting into action. At work, I've requested an accommodation so that when I come back after surgery, I'm taking a week off, but then I also have the ability to work remotely. So I'll be able to work from here, and I won't have to go in and kind of worry about everyone being able to see that I'm in compression or to drive too soon. I really want to take that time to take care of myself and give my body a chance to heal, because I think it's important, and I think we sometimes just push too hard. And I've also not been afraid to lean into my coworkers. A lot of times we want to do things on our own, but I've been intentional about saying, I'm going to be gone. For some people, I said it was a staycation, and for others that I was closer to, I said, listen, this is surgery, so I'm really not going to be available when you need me, or if I am, I might be on meds. So let me tell you, these are all the things that are going to be happening in the next week. These are the things that I'd like you to concentrate on, and this is what I need done by no later than X date. And people have been really, they've responded to that really, really well. So I feel finally like I'm in a great place. I don't have a bunch of hanging chads that I have to worry about. So mentally, I can, say, I know I've prepped everything that I need to come back. And I've given myself a lot of ticklers, right? Things to remind me, like little emails that I've sent myself, delay send, to remind me, you need to go do this by this date. I've also sent myself delayed send Slack messages, hey, reminder to go look at this thing. And I've made a whole Quip where or if you don't use Quip, I think OneNote is a really great option too, just linking to all of the different things, the different bodies of work that I've kind of got going on. There's Wednesday saying hi. So I feel like I'm in a really great place, and I promise you I will document this journey really well so that you'll be able to see my before, my during, which is probably not going to be so great, but I'm going to be as authentic as I can be, and I just hope you'll be kind, because I know it's probably going to be rough there for the first few weeks. And then my after, eventually, I'm going to have an after. I'm very excited about that. I'm excited to see what happens. So I hope you'll like and subscribe, and that way you'll get notifications when I send out my next video. And until then, for everyone who's prepping for surgery or thinking about it, I wish you peace. It's been great sharing this. I feel better for having gotten it off my chest, and I'll see you in just a few weeks. Take care.